Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will continue the story with Albania and its Prime Minister, Rama, I think it's his name, because all roads lead to Chabad. That's right. We're gonna look into who is his handler in Albania, because indeed it looks like he has his own rabbi as well. And I'm going to show you some pictures. We're going to read some articles, as well as we're going to finish this video with Russia and who Putin has fired in 2023, because that person, his name was Alexei Pavlov, criticized Chabad-Lubavitch and called it a sect. So we're going to read the article about it. There are actually a number of articles, and it is official what took place in 2023. You cannot criticize Chabad. You cannot. Before we start, I want to say a huge thank you to James and to Lynn for your donations on PayPal. Very, very much appreciated. All your support, I'm immensely grateful for. So guys, let's start with this video. So as you know, the protests are ongoing in Albania, and this is the response to those protests from the Prime Minister, who, by the way, just a reminder, has changed the law, environmental law, just to make sure that the deal with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, and actually more other companies that are involved in it, will come to fruition, will be signed. So let's take a listen, because he is saying what is the reason for those protests. Very interesting.
Albania is in a hybrid war. We are being assaulted. I saw it through media or through reading happening in other countries in other circumstances, but now I'm seeing it in my country.
By who?
Different forces that brought this in the day one when this war started, this hybrid war started. I'm not talking about the protests as a war. I'm talking about a hybrid war, because the protests are part of it, but are part of it in the sense that who is engaged in this war is using the sentiments of some well-meaning people about environment.
So this is being weaponized as this real estate construction project.
Is being weaponized big time, not as a real estate construction project. Is weaponized by the enemies of Albania and of Israel, because there is a narrative in the whole thing that this is about a hidden deal between me and Bibi Netanyahu through Jared Kushner to bring the Palestinians in that part of Albania, which is a total fantasy.
How he twisted it. Very interesting, right? I think we all know by now why they are protesting, because he has changed the laws. He signed that deal that is going to create this incredible project, 1,000 hotel rooms, I think that's what it was, and destroy the most beautiful natural areas of Albania that should remain protected, plus the corruption story behind it. So now let's look into Chabad-Lubavitch, everyone, and this guy. That's right, because this is so easy. You literally just research it and it shows you a lot. So first, I'm gonna go back to this article, okay? I'm gonna go back to it, but first I want to go back to the search that I was doing. And that was Rama Chabad-Lubavitch. Pretty much I just look it up like this, and what it says: Albanian Prime Minister Rama has cultivated a notable relationship with the Chabad-Lubavitch movement prominently demonstrated when he made a pilgrimage to the Ohel in Queens, New York, the sacred graves of the Lubavitch Rebbe. Okay, I'm going to show you this after I read the article. So what did he do? He actually went to Brooklyn, New York. You remember the tunnels, that place, that's right. And he visited the grave of the Rebbe, the so-called Messiah. You remember the Rebbe who anointed and blessed Netanyahu to make sure that Messiah will rapido come back. So the same grave that Trump was visiting with his handler, Howard Lutnick, as well as his rabbi from Chabad-Lubavitch, as well as with, what's his name? I forgot. Ben Shapiro. Yes. Anyway, so that grave. So let's continue. Rama's connection to Chabad extends to Albania as well. The Ohel visit, Rama visited the Rebbe's resting place to pay his respect and offer prayers, joining a select group of world leaders who have sought inspiration at the holy site. Local community, he has collaborated with Chabad-Lubavitch emissaries operating in Albania, such as, and this is important person because we're going to look into this guy, such as Rabbi Kaplan, who, just paraphrasing, is like he's designated rabbi for Albania, okay? Like Putin has Rabbi Lazar, right? Zelensky has his rabbi, Trump has his rabbi, and this dude has Kaplan. So this rabbi who have been instrumental in the official state recognition and ongoing revival of the local Jewish community. And national support, Chabad, never mind. So now let's go to this article because this is interesting, everyone. From 2025, last year, September 24th, exclusive. Albania asked to arrest chief rabbi. I'm like, what? Anyway, let's read this. So this is this handler, right? This is the designated rabbi for Eddie Rama, who of course, Hanukkah, menorah, and all of it, always. And he, of course, visited the wall, touched the wall. I don't know if he kissed the wall, but he went to the wall. So, exclusive. Albania asked to arrest chief rabbi over alleged war crimes in Gaza. Kaplan told, this is the portal, MEE, he was very active. So this guy, this is the rabbi, right? With the red hair beard. He was very active in the Israeli military, having been in Gaza and Lebanon. Albanian authorities are being urged to arrest and try the country's chief rabbi for war crimes and crimes against humanity committed as part of Israel's genocide in Gaza. Middle East Eye, this is the portal, can exclusively reveal. On Wednesday, a case against Kaplan, an Israeli-American citizen, very nice, active Israeli soldier and head of Albania's small Jewish community, so small, it's international, everyone, was submitted to the prosecutor general in Tirana. Kaplan divides his time between Israel, Albania, and Thessaloniki, Greece, where he also leads a small Jewish community. He has been photographed in Gaza, and videos show him in uniform with the 55th Battalion of the Israeli Army's 98 divisions. The International Center of Justice for Palestinians, a UK-based rights group, said on Wednesday that it had filed a formal notice to Albanian police regarding a member of Israeli army suspected of participating in war crimes. Quote, "We have reason to believe that this individual is currently present within Albanian jurisdiction and the domestic police must urgently investigate and arrest them." So that's the story. MEE reported dozens of civilians' deaths while Kaplan's unit operated in Khan Yunis, and much of the city was destroyed or damaged before the 98th Division redeployed to Lebanon in October 2024. Kaplan's battalion, so this rabbi's battalion, was active in Khan Yunis when Israeli forces shot children and targeted hospitals, ambulances, and schools where thousands of civilians had been sheltering. Albania's chief rabbi, who was appointed by the government in 2010, without the blessing of much of the country's tiny Jewish population, is being pursued under Article 7 of Albania's Criminal Code, which covers foreign citizens who commit crimes abroad, including crimes against humanity. So his mission in the Balkans, he says, "I'm very active in the military, and I think it's the time to be active, because if not in this war, when?" Kaplan said, claiming that Israel was fighting for Jewish families around the world. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, and his family later immigrated to Israel, settling in the city of Safed. Anyway, this is the guy. Okay, so now I want to show you something else. Let me show you guys. You just go back here. Let me show you some pictures. So this is the prime minister and his, designated rabbi. Okay, here we go. So this is the visit. You have the prime minister of Albania by the wall. And you see this guy here? Make sure that he's next to him when he's visiting the wall. So this is this rabbi, Yoel something something. I already forgot the last name. And of course, that's how they travel. Let's not forget. Let me see if there is more. And here he is. Actually, this is Brazilian. But anyway, he visited the grave as well. How nice, huh? Look at this. Look at this, everyone. So, now for a change, just briefly, we're gonna go to Russia in 2023. So what took place? Well, I didn't know about it, but I came across the post that mentioned the name of this Alexei Pavlov. Who was the dude? No idea. But it looks like there was someone who was working in the Russian government who had some cojones to criticize Chabad-Lubavitch. So here is the official story, and there are many articles about it, so you can actually find it, including the letter that was signed by Putin firing him after those statements that he made. So let me find this guy, just bear with me. One second, here we go. Okay, here we go. So it's just one of the articles. You can find many of them. This is from January 22nd, 2023. I think I was in Moscow in that time. Was I? Never mind. Anyway, Putin fires senior official who called Chabad in Ukraine a neo-pagan cult. Huh? What? Russian President Vladimir Putin. Oh, here is the signature. I mean, someone will say you fake it, but this is official, so you can find out. Russian President Vladimir Putin has fired Alexei Pavlov, assistant to the head of the Russian National Security Council, so pretty high, who 3 months ago, so that was in 2022, called the Chabad Hasidism in Ukraine a neo-pagan sect whose main principle of life is the superiority of the sect's supporters over all nations and peoples. The order signed by Putin stated Mr. Pavlov AA should be dismissed from his position as a assistant secretary of the Security Council of Russia, let's go down. The Jewish communities in Russia issued a strong condemnation of the article published by Pavlov. In an article published by Alexei Pavlov on the Argumente Fakty website, he wrote, among other things, quote, "Since the 1990s, the number of adherents of religious sects has doubled in Ukraine. A powerful impetus for this was the coup in Kiev in 2014. The operatives planted by Washington and the seats of power implemented the tasks that float across the ocean. For example, still quoting this guy, the first prime minister of after Maidan, Arseniy Yatsenyuk, is a follower of the Church of Scientology, which was banned in Russia as a totalitarian cult. Igor Kolomoisky is a follower of Lubavitch Chabad, so Chabad-Lubavitch, and a follower of the Haredi religious movement. The main life principle of Lubavitch Hasidism is the superiority of the sect's supporters over all nations and peoples. Mind you, he is bringing up the Chabad-Lubavitch, the very same one that always goes to Kremlin and meets with Putin, you know, Rabbi Lazar, designated for Russia. Anyway, let's continue. A number of other Ukrainian oligarchs belong to this movement, notably Viktor Pinchuk, son-in-law of Ukraine's second president Kuchma, author of the book Ukraine is Not Russia. After the article was published, the same website published a letter from the head of the Russian National Security Council, Nikolai Patrushev, in which he completely disavowed his assistant words. So, нехорошо. The website states, an article by Assistant Secretary of the Security Council of the Russian Federation Alexei Pavlov was published, dedicated to the religious situation in Ukraine. In it, in particular, the Chabad-Lubavitch movement was called a sect. These statements in the publication offended some of our readers. In this regard, the editors of AIF received a letter from the Secretary of the Council of Russia, Nikolai Patrushev, in which he wrote the following. Quoting, an article published in the weekly Argumenty i Fakty by Assistant Secretary of Security Council of the Russian Federation, Alexei Pavlov, contained incorrect lines about Lubavitch followers. I apologize to the readers of the publication and would like to note that this interpretation reflects the personal point of view of Alexei Pavlov and in no way is the official position of the Security Council of the Russian Federation. By now, I think we all know this. Chabad-Lubavitch, no problem in Russia, keep on going. That's right. If you criticize it, you will be fired, like Trump fired. So, I think we should end this video with when Prime Minister of Albania meets his BFF Netanyahu. 4 months ago, they had an encounter, and that was, I think, the time when he spoken at Knesset, and his knees were shaking because, you know, he had a chat with Mossad. So let's take a listen how this relationship is flourishing.
I want to welcome Prime Minister Eddie Rama of Albania. Prime Minister Rama is a great friend of the Jewish people, a great friend of the Jewish state, and may I say also a great personal friend. He represents the real spirit of Albania. And perhaps people don't know this, and the world should know, that Albania was the only European country which during the Holocaust had the Jewish population inside Albania grow and not decline. It grew because Albanians, Muslim Albanians, in the spirit of moderation, in the spirit of tolerance, in the spirit of human dignity, protected the hundreds of Jews who lived in Albania at the time and also received many others. That's the spirit that you represent. This is a story, we were talking about this just a few minutes ago. This is the story that the world should know. This is the stuff, as you said, of inspiring movies. People should know the great role that Albania played, the moral role that Albania played during the darkest hours of human history. That's the spirit that you continue today, my good friend Eddie. You stand with courage against those who would intimidate you. You stand for the truth. You stood by Israel when we were attacked by these barbarians. Your moral compass did not waver. And this is something that we deeply appreciate and marks you as an outstanding leader for your people, and I think for the broad segments of humanity that want the truth to be defended and the moral values that we share. Equally, and not surprisingly, we are building great ties between Albania and Israel. The number of Israeli tourists who have gone to Albania has increased by 800%. Soon it'll be 1,000, and soon it'll be a lot more. And I can tell all Israelis that Albania is a beautiful country with beautiful people. So go there, number one. Number two, we have Israeli investors and companies who understand that there is a great economic opportunity in Albania. There's a free market orientation, and there are things that can be developed jointly with Albanians. That's going to be enhanced by the opening of the Chamber of Commerce in Jerusalem. I think it's tomorrow under Prime Minister Rama. This is something that I think will advance our economic ties. And finally, I would say that we have also an understanding beyond interest, but in the deepest sense of human sympathy, that we recognize that there is a foundation of kinship between our two peoples. And I want to say that there is a foundation of kinship between the two of us as well. So welcome, friend. Welcome to Jerusalem.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister. Thank you. And I want to reiterate that Albania and Israel share excellent relations rooted in a profound friendship between the Albanian and Jewish people, forged across centuries of history. When time and again Jews fleeing persecution in the West came and settled on our shores, Albania's unique historical legacy of safeguarding Jews during the Holocaust makes this bond deeply special. And to me and to us is a testament by the moral courage of our grandparents, a testament that we should never forget, and we should do everything to pass from generation to generation. And as a government, we are fully committed to cherishing this inheritance from history and maintains a firm, clear, consistent stance against anti-Semitism, both at home and international. Although Albania's Muslim majority population joined the ranks of solidarity worldwide with the suffering of ordinary Palestinian people during the Gaza war, Albanians did not rally in gatherings of hatred against Israel, nor did they project anger over the horrifying pain of the Palestinian people onto the growing number of Jews visiting our country. This stands in stark contrast to what has unfortunately occurred in many other parts of Europe, where anti-Semitism has once again become a deeply disturbing presence. Our nation stands firmly against anti-Semitism, just as it stands against Islamophobia. We unequivocally refuse to allow hatred or discrimination to guide our thinking, our actions, and our relations with other people and nations. Visiting the Nova site yesterday upon my arrival was profoundly unsettling. Yet I felt a sense of moral relief toward the souls of that painful place in knowing that we never failed them. We stood with the hostages and their families and against the Hamas neo-Nazi butchers, whose actions have brought unbearable suffering not only to Israelis, but for far too long also to our Palestinian brothers and sisters, dehumanized by Hamas to the point of being reduced to instruments of war,
turned into defensive infrastructure of human flesh, unseen, unheard in the history of barbarism. Mere meat for the fire of terror. So Albania is honored to join the Board of Peace, founded by President Trump, and I view this invitation as both recognition and moral responsibility. We'll continue to support all efforts, including President Trump's peace plan for Gaza, and we'll do our part within the International Stabilization Force for Gaza. And with Israel, we'll continue to deepen cooperation in defense, security, cybersecurity, and counterterrorism. And Prime Minister, allow me to express once again our sincere gratitude to Israel for its critical support during the massive Iranian cyber attack against Albania. Like Israel, Albania maintains no diplomatic relations with Iran, a great country with an extraordinary civilization that has been transformed into an Ireland of darkness by blind hatred towards any light. And while we pray for the countless souls burned in recent days in the fires of Khomeinism, we hold the hope that the conviction that the days of terror and assassins are drawing to an end. On the other hand, we welcome expanded trade and investment, building on Israel's technological expertise, and especially having day after day agreements to jointly build up a new defense military production. And thanks to the partnership with Israel, recreating the conditions for the Made in Albania in the defense systems to also go abroad. So in the spirit of growing cooperation, we will announce tomorrow, as you mentioned, the opening of a Chamber of Commerce in Jerusalem, aimed at strengthening business ties and promoting Albania and its opportunities as a strongly emerging nation. And last but not least, I want to conclude with the most impressive and most encouraging note of this relation: tourism and people-to-people exchange that finally are growing as they should, supported by direct flights between Israel and Albania. And I want to warmly invite all Jewish people to visit Albania, discover a remarkable land, not just in nature, but in soul, described by a Jewish observer before the Second World War as a place where Jews could live openly, safely, and in full dignity. Thank you, Prime Minister.
Thank you.
Ay, ay, ay. So, a lot has been said. I don't know if you're still with me. I hope you are. My good friend Eddie said, very strange looking Netanyahu. Was it a double, a clone, a mask, whatever it was, staring at him like a hawk at every single word that Eddie Rama was saying. So the body language is interesting because in spite of his tall posture and looking pretty strong as a man, he felt to me as if he was afraid. Anyway, business opportunities, another opportunity besides Ivanka and Jared Kushner is a new land for Israel. Greek islands, Cyprus, Thailand, Philippines, Argentina, Patagonia, parts of Chile. Where else, everyone? Where else? Albania. So this all starts to make sense because this prime minister is part of the Chabad-Lubavitch. He is controlled clearly and checked regularly, I'm sure, by this rabbi with red hair beard. Isn't it simple? Like, you just connect the dots. Have you been to the wall? Checked. Do you have Chabad-Lubavitch in your country? Checked. Do you have any pictures and association with them? Checked. Or you even visited the grave of the Rebbe, Schneerson, you know? Checked. I mean, and Netanyahu calls you my good friend Eddie. Checked. So that's all I have for you today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. It's pretty simple. It's almost like you have to go through those criterias. And let's not forget, in Russia, you cannot criticize Chabad-Lubavitch and call it a sect. This is really not good. Not good. So I woke up to what's going on, and I think a lot of you already have as well. Some people are still confused, but it's all right. Not everyone is on the leading edge, and I think we pretty much are. Thank you so much for watching. If you appreciate the content and a little bit of courage it takes to talk about it, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Leave the comments down below and let me know your thoughts. And if you want to support my work, the best way is to donate on PayPal, join my Patreon as a Patreon supporter, or you can become local supporter as well. And you have my Instagram just in case if you want to follow me there. With this being said, everyone, lots of love. And remember, we are the leading edge and we are saving humanity. And I see you in another video. Bye, everyone.